Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 4th episode of Bump the Night Paranormal Radio. I'm Matthew Ferry. I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Christian Sakara,
and Patrick Palella.
So this week was a little odd because we had a hard time kind of coming up with ideas for topics. So the ones we came up with, we thought would be exciting, but didn't really lead to too much stuff. So we're going to go ahead and give a rundown of what it is, maybe like what our opinions or beliefs are. I'll let Christian read off what the topics are.
Okay, first topic was we're gonna talk about the Necronomicon.
Okay, the Necronomicon.
Then Oni.
I thought it was, there's more than just, you said Japanese demons and myths and stuff like that, but there's way too many to cover, I think, in like a small topic. So you decided to go with Oni?
Yeah, for the definition and to explain a little bit more about the Onis, because doing some research, that's not just the name of a particular demon or anything like that. And we are also gonna go over ghost ships.
Yes, which we were hoping to find more like maybe stories other than the one with the two couple in Nova Scotia talking about the one that they saw on fire and it just disappeared, and no, we're not going to call for help or anything. We're just gonna, it's that ghost ship. They're dead. They're ghosts. Didn't even see if it was a real ship burning in the water. Just assumed it was the one. I forget what it's called, the Tracer or something like that.
Yes.
It was a weird. Just kind of like a weird.
Yes, the Tracer or the. Yeah, I want to say it's the Tracer. I believe it was maybe a little bit something else said differently. But I guess we can start off with the Necronomicon. Go a little bit about that.
Okay, so basically the Necronomicon, from what I've understood, originally it first appeared in H.P. Lovecraft book. And a lot of people seem to believe that H.P. Lovecraft had this, sort of mystical sense of the occult and things like that, when pretty much just fictitious writer that was probably way ahead of his time. He crafted a whole world based around, these ancient gods and creatures and things, and one of the things that was in it was the Necronomicon, which I had known from The Evil Dead. I believe they called it the Book of the Dead in The Evil Dead. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched the movie. But for some reason over time, a lot of people believe that the Necronomicon is, in fact, a real book now. Or has been. And that, just because it's been published as a book, which is another fictitious book itself, because it's a fictional, it's not spells and things like that, It's not used for necromancy or anything that it would suggest. It's not going to be like if you read it out loud, something's going to come flying through the woods at you. And
yeah, it's not like the Mummy movie.
I was referring to Evil Dead, but what you're referring to is the Egyptian Book of the Dead, more likely.
Yeah,
which is an actual book.
Which is an actual. No, they're not books though. They're
like scribes.
They're scrolls. They're written on papaya. And it's pretty much like, the way I got it from research is you go and sit down with this dude, and okay, what would you like me to put in this scroll of your dead?
Well, normally they wouldn't do it when they're alive.
Yeah, actually, the research said that they do it within preparation of their own funeral. So yeah, it's pretty.
It was after the funeral. Death.
Well, I'm just saying it was put in their tomb, so obviously it was, but it was always tailored to what they wanted. So it's maybe like a will with some added little, tidbits. It's a kind of an odd topic that Egypt was. I just, like I said, I picture a guy sitting down, it's going to cost you. I don't know the money. It wasn't shillings. It was something else. And I should remember.
You got to trade your goat, man.
You're going to trade your goat. Something. I'm going to write this awesome scroll for you. It's going to be like your will and your, where this goes and what you want done with your tomb. And so, but the Necronomicon itself, which is used in several different things, one being its own, like I said, for some reason a lot of Wiccans and stuff have that. I don't know of all of them, but a few that I've talked to are always talking about the Necronomicon. The only one I've ever found was, it's like a fictitious story. It's like a novel. It's not like a real book with spells and, ancient curses and ways to bring back the dead. And neither is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I don't know if there's any necromancy in there. There could be in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, but as far as I know, Do I believe that it exists? Possibly. But do I believe it's what H.P. Lovecraft had? Like,
Well, it's interesting how he came up with it.
how'd he come up with it?
He said he saw it in a dream.
Ah. Like I said, people believe he had some sort of third eye for mysticism there, or some sort of...
It came from a Greek language, meant an image of the law of the dead.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna put anything past Lovecraft. The dude was scary for his time, man. And I think he would make up words and stuff, though.
Oh yeah, he did make up the author's name to make it kind of gibberish. So, grammatically incorrect.
Grammatically incorrect.
Grammatically incorrect. Yeah.
Well, it's just like Cthulhu. Like I always joke that Cthulhu's last name's Fatagan. It's like, is that Polish?
But what's funny is that people still called up libraries and bookstores asking for the Necronomicon.
Yeah, it's one of those weird situations where somehow fact, which was fiction, has become what people believe is actual fact. It's kind of like manifesting your own beliefs to the point to where somehow it has created a belief that it's real.
And because of that, a lot of publishers are, making money because of them doing that.
Like the one you find in bookstores, like I said, it's more like a novel.
Yeah, even though what's funny is that it's in the non-fiction section, the spiritual section.
Yeah, and that's the first time I came across it. I found it there with the witchcraft and pagan books. I'm like, okay, cool, the Necronomicon. I mean, it doesn't look like it's bound in flesh or anything, but that's cool. There's no blood inside. This doesn't seem right. The description doesn't fit. I'm reading this out loud, and all I feel is it's just a story. It's not like, it's not like when he plays that tape recorder in the first Evil Dead movie, and it starts zipping with the entity coming at you, or doing really bad things to you with trees. I won't go into full detail with that. If you've not seen the Evil Dead, I'll let you put that on your own.
They kind of changed it in the remake a little bit.
Well,
not the not the remake, but the second movie.
Oh, you mean Evil Dead 2?
Yeah, Evil Dead 2.
Well, that's because Evil Dead 1 was like it was a more serious. He was going for a more serious tone to it, and then when he realized like how cheesy and fun it became and how campy it was, then he's just like, all right, well, when we do the second one, which will technically be a rehash of the first one mixed with the second one, they're gonna change some parts.
Yeah. Still.
But the first one, I mean, there's some scenes in that still like, it still get me like the pencil to the ankle and things. And the tree scene is kind of like really weird.
You guys seen the movie The Mummy, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Unfortunately. Which one?
The first one.
Which first one?
Which first one?
The
There's
Mummy,
one.
the first Mummy.
There's the Universal Pictures one.
The Universal Pictures.
Okay,
one.
They're all by Universal. There's
what I mean is like the one from like the Golden Age of Horror, or like the one with Brendan Fraser. Okay,
yes.
Not the one with Tom Cruise.
No.
Okay.
The one with Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
Yes.
You remember how in the beginning of that movie, how Hemotep was getting Hemotep was getting mummified.
Yes.
The Humdai. The one part of that movie that really gets me, and I'm not normally cringy at all when it comes to blood and gore. I'm not cringy.
Can I take a guess at what it is?
What?
The Scarab Beetle?
Yes!
Yeah, that scene was kind of like...
Oh, man.
I took an action film and made this like, feel it's like, oh, God! I mean, we're going off topic here. Only because, like, when we sat down to do the research for this, collectively, we just came across a bunch of bump kiss, but we didn't want to give you, like, a bad show, so we thought maybe this would be a little bit more lighthearted than the other ones, so we'll kind of joke a little bit, but still talk about the beliefs and possibilities of things. I mean, do you believe that there's some sort of book out there that could possibly be some sort of crossover or bridge to the underworld, that you can bring back the dead through spells and rituals? I mean, pagans and Wiccans have spells and rituals they believe exist and work.
Yeah, so does voodoo doctors.
Okay, yes, voodoo, hoodoo, that stuff. Black magic and white magic. There's different forms of things all over the place. But they all do seem to have like some sort of necromancy rituals.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do those come from? Do those come from some sort of, like we know our okay, so like any religion's Bibles has some sort of trace to like old scrolls and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I said the S word. My bad. But where does it all stem from? Because some of them are very similar, just like with these necromancy rituals and things. Some of them are very similar. Same thing with certain witchcraft and voodoo spells. Some of them are very, close to each other, but there's no real reason for it culturally.
Right.
unless we've lost some sort of trace or link to it between each other.
I feel like, in a way, that when you get into things like rituals, when it comes to things like the afterlife and like resurrection, there has to be some form of like sacrifice in a way. Like those people that sacrifice like cats or any other living life form.
So like alchemy, like Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Like they had to give, everything has to be equal trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a way.
In a way, there's a lot. Yeah, that seems to fit a lot of belief too. I mean, even in Stephen King's Pet Sematary, like there was a trade-off to, when you brought something back, it didn't come back pure; it came back evil.
It's almost like in order to get close to death, you have to first like experience death in a way, but as you're still living, I'm trying not to make that sound complicated.
I mean, any way you deal with like some sort of bringing something back from the dead is going to be kind of complicated, I would think. I don't think it'd be an easy thing. Like, hey Sam, you down there? Get up, man! I've got this book. It works. See, Sam, come out. It all just says Sam, come out. It's not like they're going to pop up. I think there's always going to be some sort of trade-off. But I think that's more of a moral compass kind of thing. Like I think that's kind of a way to show you that what you're doing requires some sort of your own conscience to be like, hey, should I bring this person back in fear of losing something greater, or do I have a way to sacrifice something else to bring it back?
Mm.
So, I mean, maybe that's where animal sacrifices. I know, like, human sacrifices and animal sacrifices go way, 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 way back.
Yeah.
Like the Druids and stuff like that, and like they think the Stonehenge is used for like necromancy type rituals, from what I understand, and like. Sacrifices to stop things from happening, and
yeah, but look what the Mayans did too. The Mayans did that too.
Oh yeah, they did. I mean, the Mayans also had they had some sort of it's some sort of game with like a stone ball that would last one game would last like a week. Like
that too. They also played with severed head too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but that's the strangest thing is one of those. It's once again we're talking about the Necronomicon, and that is a fictitious book, but somehow it's going to have some sort of tie to our world, because in a way all these cultures, once again like aliens, have these beliefs that there's a way to bring back the dead. Or even now, like nowadays, like we talked about last week with the Ouija board, we believe there's a way to talk to the dead.
Mm-hmm.
So where did that all stem from? Is it some sort of secret book that's maybe the Vatican has the real Necronomicon? They have a lot. They have a lot of religious texts.
I think in a way we as humans we try to understand things to the best of our ability, and
so we create. So what you're saying was we create like a paranormal paradox, like
yeah, kinda. It's like, and especially if we lose somebody like really close to us, we want to try to bring them back in a way, and then there's that topic of going off the rail here, but then there's that topic of also resurrection. You guys believe in resurrection at all?
Well, I think that like.
And resurrection is not to be mixed up with.
Well, I mean, like
coming back from the dead.
What the weird thing is from what I understand, in certain, and I'm not trying to push on or hate on any religions, but like in the Christian religion, there's no coming back, except for what I understand, like 2 cases. There's coming back. There's Lazarus, I believe, was somebody that Jesus Christ brought back. Is it Lazarus?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then himself resurrected. But the Lazarus one would have been necromancy. So there's got to be some way that somebody knew how to bring somebody back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, apparently it was Jesus and he had, like, powers. He was, Son of God. But, once again, where does this all come from? Where does it stem from? I mean, is this all just... Is it all just us trying to understand things that we're somehow subconsciously linking together to create very similar stories and methods? I mean, look at the monks. You have these monks that believe that they can meditate and just live forever, and
and the monks also had like superb physical strength, as well. On top of that,
we talked about that last time too, and they've got they believe in resurrection. Well, not resurrection, for them it'd be reincarnation.
Reincarnation.
And so I mean, like, but where does this come? There's got to be some sort of link or some sort of living point in history that somebody has seen some stuff. They're like, okay, there's something going on here. I mean, like I said, Ouija board, stuff like that, we all subconsciously link together, and there's different versions of it in different cultures for no apparent reason at all, other than I mean, you think that's just your mental state, like I need to communicate with something that I can't communicate with, but I'm trying to find a reason to believe, or...
I guess it's...
I'll try to ask you some open-ended questions here.
Yeah, right.
Other than the Ouija board, have you ever done research on trying to bring something or someone back from the dead?
Aside from summoning,
Well, even summoning rituals. Like they're all, like, once again, every culture has some sort of summoning ritual for different deities and demons. Or
now, when I did some of my digging, I was more interested in spell casting and trying to bring back that which I have lost.
Well, yeah, and that's what necromancy is, though. It's the it's basically the resurrection of something or someone through the form of spellcraft and rituals. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, so you have done research. I mean, so do you believe it's possible? Do you believe maybe we just lost that link to where we don't have the whole information? You see what I'm saying? Like, over years the texts have gotten scattered?
They're missing... I think that there are missing links somewhere that need to be addressed, in a way. And there's our understanding that we have thus far. As when it comes to the Ouija board, for example, I think that there are certain paradigms that link us with us, that link the living with death, in a way. Because you can't have life without death, and you can't have death without life. And I think those coincide with reality and the way that we perceive things.
I mean, Christian, what would be your takeaway on the whole subject? And then I've got another question after that.
My takeaway on the whole subject is that there's... I want to say it's probably going to be something that we feel mentally, as well as the fact that mentally, because of losing, and the fact that we want to know the unknown.
Okay.
And in that knowing of the unknown, we also fear the unknown. I guess that in a way makes it even more interesting.
Well, okay. I keep hating to go back. I hate to keep going back and tag on the Ouija board situation, but there was a moment in time when that started, that we started breaking away from our religious beliefs. But at the same time, as you showed me, back then, praying to the dead or talking to the dead or trying to bring the dead back in some form or manner apparently was not far-fetched for any religion, even Egyptian or Christianity, in certain time periods. It makes me think, though, I mean, what kind of books have been created through either some sort of paranoid schizophrenia or, you know, some mental disorder that they thought it was like a religious message, or in certain situations like that, I forget what it's called. There's a book that's basically like a book of the dead. It's basically Satan's Bible. I don't mean like the satanic Bible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean the one that the monk, I think he was a Gregorian
Yeah.
monk, wrote in like the span of a day or some weird, crazy, like quick thing because he didn't want to die. So he's like, oh, if you let me live, I'll sell myself to make this book for you. And it's a huge book. I mean, this book's like about yay thick, and it's huge. It's almost half the size of a normal human.
Okay.
And everything in it's hand-drawn, handwritten. Some with his own blood, they
The
believe.
Voynich manuscript.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Are you sure?
The Voynich manuscript.
Is that the really big... Is it really big?
Huge.
Yeah. If you can get a picture of this for people watching. How do you spell it, just in case somebody else wants to like look it up?
It is spelled Voynich. Voynich.
Is it manuscript?
Voynich manuscript.
Interesting.
I don't think that's it, dude. I think that's a totally different book. That's a totally different book, dude.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the one that people to this day still can't figure out. Because I believe it was like a Dutch salesman or something like that ended up with a book. They couldn't figure out the writing, and then he sold it, and so people can't figure out. It's weird because it's got what are those? It's like a beast. It's what are the bestiary? Is that what they're called?
Yes, that tells about like.
But it's like plant life and animal life, but nobody knows where these things are from. Like these plants, they don't exist in our world, so they don't know what these are. I gotta look it up real quick, but Oh, the Gyges. The Gyges Codex?
Yeah, Gyges. Codex Gyges.
Let me make sure that's the right one, too. Because now we're finding all these other weird books.
Legend says that the monk produced...
The Devil's Bible. That's it. The Codex Gyges.
Yep.
You can actually get out of here.
Huh.
There are actually replicas of this book, I guess, that you can purchase. I kind of want to get it. It's okay. So I am reading off of Wikipedia, so I'm going to give a shout out to them. Remember, not everything on Wikipedia is true. I am going to say that.
Yeah, it's because anyone can edit it.
Yes. The Codex Gyges, or English Giant Book, is the largest extant medieval illuminated manuscript in the world at 92 centimeters, 36 inches long. That's like...
Huge.
That is huge. It is also known as the Devil's Bible because of a very unusual full-page portrait of the devil and the legend surrounding its creation. It was created in the early 13th century in the Benedictine monastery of... I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't want to butcher it. Podolazzi? In Bohemia, which is the modern Czech Republic. It contains the complete Vulgate Bible, as well as other popular works, all written in Latin. Between the Old and New Testaments are a selection of other popular medieval reference works. Josephus's Antiquities of the Jews and Di Bello, this is actually in Italian. Di Bello e Dicio? Isidore of Seville's Encyclopedia, Entomologia. So there's entomology stuff in there too. Mm-hmm. The Chronicle of Cosmos of Prague, and medical works. There are an early version of the Ars Medicinae, which is another like a medical book, compilation of treatises, and 2 books of Constantine the African. Eventually finding its way to the Imperial Library of Rudolf II in Prague, the entire collection was taken as spoils of war by the Swedish in 1648 during the 30-Year War. So, you can look at it, and the artwork, and it's kind of weird because it kind of resembles something else we were talking about, which is weird because we seem to find these links and ties in. So if you look at the picture, does that not look like one of our other topics tonight?
Oh yeah, the Oni.
It looks like a Japanese Oni.
Yeah.
It's got that ogre face with the tusks,
which goes
and the horns.
Which goes back to every culture having their own viewpoint on what demons are and what mythical creatures inhabit each
layer.
Yeah,
circle?
not layer.
Circle.
Not circle. Oh, fuck. There's another word. Yeah, almost a deity.
Well, no, wait. I mean, this book and several other books like the Necronomicon in a way kind of also tie back to the Divine Comedy and Dante's Inferno. Mm-hmm. These books are nobody really knows why this guy wrote these 2 books, but I'll tell you this: it's not comedy.
No.
It means in a different form and word of an older term. But this one was kind of shocking to me. There's a lot of history on this book, but when I first read about this book, I was like, this is kind of cool. So the guy was like a recluse. He was a reclusive monk, and I can't remember his name. But yeah, so it's the Gyges Codex or the Codex of Gyges? Codex Gyges, I think it's But
Gyges,
we'll put some pictures up and maybe throw the Wikipedia page on the links below. Mm-hmm. And once again, we're not getting our research from Wikipedia as far as, like factual. We just kind of quick reference that because I couldn't remember what it was. But that is weird because you did mention another book that just appeared out of nowhere that nobody knows what it is. That could be from a time period that we don't even remember or collectively recognize or notice anymore because...
Yeah, it's like a mysterious manuscript.
Yeah, and nobody to this day has been able to solve it. Not one codex has been able to translate any of this book. Now, the Gyges Codex, or that book that we were just mentioning...
Book of the Devil.
The Bible, the Devil Bible.
The Bible.
Devil's Bible.
Yeah, the Bible's Devil.
That book, however, has been mostly translated, I believe, and...
Yeah, you just said you can buy it.
Well, you can buy a replica. It doesn't mean it's the actual... I think it's just like, like a replica. Like, it's not going to be... It's just what they could be... They were probably able to scan or, take pictures of. I don't think... It might not even be a replica.
Yeah.
It might just be a recreation or just pictures of what was inside. But it comes down to things like, how much of this stuff that we see and find are we seeing and getting a hold of? Because, if you look at the Vatican... The Vatican has an underground library system.
Oh yeah.
That only top people of the church are allowed into. Some areas in it only the Pope. And I'm not making this up. This is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
they supposedly have altered versions of the Bible. They also have different versions of different things dealing with the Bible. And I'm not going into the Da Vinci Code stuff. That's not like... I mean, I think it's a cool story. I don't know if there's any like truth to that, really. I know there's a lot of weird symbols and stuff in Da Vinci, but I think that's just Da Vinci. Because a lot of people believe Da Vinci was this religious guy when he really wasn't. I mean, a lot of people think he was just this like homosexual guy that was working for the church to make money as an artist, because he did get in trouble several times. He would make paintings that the church is like, we can't pay you for this. This is crazy. What do you mean you can't show that Jesus has like a brother and stuff? So you'd have to like alter and change things. So Da Vinci was a little weird to begin with, but in this vault, in this library, there's scrolls, there's books, and all taken from different times and periods of war. That when Catholicism and Christianity, just swept the entire European area,
and not only that, that library is also like barred from the public too.
That's what I'm saying. The only people in there are top church members, and then even then, if you're allowed in there as like a historian, they will literally, I believe their armed guards will literally take you around, and like you can go here. You can go here, and they'll stand outside the like reading cubicles that you're allowed to sit in and read. But there's certain areas you can't go into. Like they have artifacts and everything. They have religious artifacts down there that have everything. That they might have. I'm not saying they really do, but I'm sure there's some sort of like tie into like the Sphere Longinus and stuff could be in there and things like that. Artifacts that are pertaining to different religions and mostly Catholicism, but they do have other religious texts and things from other cultures.
It just goes to show what else could be out there in a sense of...
Exactly.
And a lot of people believe that they have the Necronomicon, the real one.
Did that really come up in the research? I didn't see that. I mean, it's cool. It ties back in. And that I wouldn't... If it does exist, I wouldn't doubt that it would be there. I mean, I think that is where the Devil's Bible is. At least at one time it was.
Sweden.
It's in Sweden?
It's in Sweden.
So we might have to take a trip to Sweden. Go get some meatballs and check out the Devil's Bible. Okay, so but anyway, and that does make you wonder. Maybe there is a real, like I said, maybe a real book. Maybe there is some sort of factual referencing to it somewhere that Lovecraft may have overseen by accident, or just maybe he did have some sort of psychic thought or tie to it to write his stories. I mean, there's people that believe Cthulhu's real now because of his writings, and that's, come on, man. There ain't no. There's a paranormal sound that was caught like in the deepest depths of the ocean.
Is it the bloop? Is it the bloop?
Maybe. I know that they reference Cthulhu to it. They basically reference Cthulhu to it, saying that's Cthulhu.
Yeah,
that's the call of Cthulhu.
Interesting.
Yeah, bloop.
I need to look that up.
Yeah, but then again, I don't know. Sounds weird because you can even we've picked up sounds from space that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you've ever heard of the way Saturn's rings sound. It's really, really weird. But yeah, so there seems to be some sort of ounce of truth to a lot of things, and I think that this is one of those ones that I'd have to say is what is the improbable coincidence? Like there's too many. There's got to be some sort of form of book that at one point people believe that could bring people back from the dead and do other things, because there's a lot of cultures that still have similar beliefs that do similar things. And so, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. Unless you have more to say on the Necronomicon.
I don't have anything more to really say about the Necronomicon. I mean, however, doing a little bit more digging in the Book of the Dead thing brought some interesting stuff, but other than that...
Okay, so what was that?
Apparently it has spells in it.
Well, okay.
Yes, that's...
The book, I mean, which one? The Egyptian one?
Yeah, the Egyptian one.
Well, like I said, though, those were like on papyrus, and each one, would be like...
The spells of the Book of the Dead made use of several magical techniques, which can also be seen in other areas of Egyptian life. Yeah, so, I mean, it could have just been just something that they went
It's basically, like I said, I think it's, like, the way they was, like, kind of mentioning is somebody sits down with somebody, and they're like, okay, so these are the spells I want.
Yeah, because, like, a number of spells are for magical amulets, which would protect the deceased from harm. So that's what that type of spell things are.
Alright, so we're, just because we're talking about the Necronomicon, I'm going to end it with 3 words. It's a Klaatu Vratanikto. I might have said that wrong. I don't know.
Which means you would get shocked.
Huh?
You would get shocked.
What do you mean?
From Army of Darkness.
He gets shocked, he gets his face sucked into a book, and then he gets bitten by a... I'm glad you got that reference out. But, yeah, so we'll close the book that way, you know. And then in the spirit of the Ouija board, goodbye. I guess, okay, so what would be the second topic that you'd want to
we could go on the Oni, because the picture that you showed from the Devil's Bible, it was very
very Oni-ish.
Because if you see here, the main colors that they are
red, blue, and green,
yep.
which is the same colors as that devil in the Bible, the Devil's Bible. So, I should give more information on the Devil's Bible, but I don't. I think that would be something you'd want to read. Like I said, I don't like to touch too much on religion. I guess it's not really a religious thing per se. I mean, the whole subject we just talked about was religion. In some way, with the Onis, it's kind of a religion-based thing too.
Religion and not so, but at the same time, yeah.
It's kind of weird how much stuff we're finding in paranormal studies that are like going back to religion. So, I mean, what are your beliefs on the Oni? I mean, you want to give a rundown of what they are?
I mean, let's see. They are a kind of... I can't even pronounce the Japanese or the Chinese writing.
Oh, like I'm going to be able to.
The Y-O...
Oh, yokai. Like that game.
Yokai.
That weird game.
Okay.
Is that what you're hunting in those games? Like, it's like the Pokemon version of Oni?
Yokai, yes. So that's what yokai is.
Yokai-oi.
Yep.
There's
supernatural ogre.
I think it's called Yokai Watch.
Yes, that's the game we're talking about.
Yeah.
He was talking about.
It's like a Pokemon type game, but it basically like what Pokemon Go is, but it started before Pokemon Go, and it wasn't on your cell phone. You had to use like your DS.
Huh.
Yokai or supernatural ogre or troll.
And didn't that character in that TV show have a watch that communicated with?
I've never watched the show.
Yes.
But he probably
Yeah, so the yokai in that are...
Yeah, there's different spirits and stuff he has to catch. And
Yep.
He basically had
a watch that he can see him and catch him with.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And surprisingly, that was a pretty popular toy.
Still is.
Is it really?
Yeah, they already did number 2 for the 3DS. They just re-released that.
I mean, that's getting off topic, but I mean, like, so what else did you find out about the Oni? Like I said, there's a lot to it, but there's a lot more than what we could cover in like a, you know.
Of course, like they've been known to have single horns or mini horns coming from their heads.
Now, were there different
sharp claws?
Yeah, were there different? Oh, the tusks coming out of their mouth, the curved tusks from the bottom lip. Are there any? Is there any reasoning behind?
Wild hair.
Yeah. Is there any reasoning behind the amount of horns, or did it have any sort of symbolism, or?
No. They from the research, no little actual symbolism or anything. Just like I guess just different species of Oni.
Okay.
I guess is what would it be?
So just like different species of elves and halflings, you know. Like
animals or dragons and anything like that, where you have different types of good stuff. Some have third eyes.
Okay.
Of
Is there a reasoning before that, or is that just another trait of some of them? There's not like a, like you can see into different worlds or something with it.
Pretty much
could
just
you
a trait.
imagine coming across one of those creatures?
What, an Oni?
Yeah, like a demonic
I don't know. It
troll.
depends. Are they all evil? Are they malicious, benevolent? I mean,
some according to. I'll have to do a little bit more digging again because I didn't really get to finish that part of my research, but. I just think it's more of a different...
I mean, if you look up the artwork for... the traditional Japanese artwork for some of these that were found on scrolls and stuff like that are just amazing.
Yeah, they also look like the one from the one guy, too, that you found.
Yeah, they do. It's a very, very similar art style as some of it, which is kind of weird. Because it makes you wonder how much did a recluse know about another civilization?
Yeah, they are typically portrayed as hulking figures with one or more horns growing out of their heads. Stereotypically, they are conceived of as red or blue colored or green colored, wearing cloths of tiger pelt and carrying iron clubs.
Oh, see, the ones I'm seeing have like wooden... Oh, I get you. Yeah, it's iron. Look like a wooden club, but...
Because of obviously, it's just a picture.
I guess they in a lot of belief that they're Hindu Buddhists, which once again we're finding religion tied into things that most religions would shy away from, even though it's in their belief system and history. the Hindu Buddhist creatures such as the man-devouring yaksha and the rakshasa became I guess they became the oni who tormented sinners as wardens. So they became like the judges basically, or they became the ones that overlooked the underworld prison and this belief system.
That's almost like in the Egyptian culture, the god of the dead was Anubis.
Yes.
He foresaw the underworld.
Oh, and then Hades in Greek.
Yeah.
Or is that Roman?
No, Greek.
Is it Greek?
Hades is Greek, yeah.
Okay, so then what's his... He has a Roman equivalent, too.
Yes. I think it's also...
It wouldn't... it's not Hades as well. They changed the names.
No, it's a different...
Which is weird. Check this out. So if anybody's listening to us that is a nerd like us, you're going to recognize his name, King Yama. You know what that's from, right? Apparently that's a real Oni.
Yeah, that's what it says right here, too. Passed down by Hell's something. King Yama. The hungry ghost.
He did look hungry in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that makes sense.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of beliefs and, once again, disbeliefs these things existed. But it's a heavy religious-based thing that happens in culture that seems to still tie into other cultures without realizing.
Some scholars have even argued that the Oni was entirely a concept of Buddhist mythology.
Pluto was the king of the underworld in Roman.
Yeah.
So Hades was Greek.
Pluto
was Roman.
Pluto was Roman.
So that's crazy.
Was Christian.
Huh?
I said the devil was Christian.
Well, technically, yeah. They say Satan with Lucifer, because Satan's actually referred to in the Bible as several different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
With different terms and beliefs, so they don't know if Satan was actually his name. The traditional one is the one that watches over the underworld's Lucifer.
And
the morning star, right?
Yep.
And in the Satanic Bible, Satan and devil are two different words.
Yeah. There's also other beliefs in the whole righteousness of Satan, and that he's not, or Lucifer, that he's not actually a bad guy, but just appointed to hell to do a job. Which, once again, I'm not trying to get into like beliefs and stuff. If you want to read it, go ahead. Or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah. So Oni are kind of cool looking. I always liked Oni. I drew kind of a picture not too long. Well, it's been a while. Several years ago, that was kind of like an Oni in a way. He had like the tusk coming out, but it was broken, and his bottom lip, and he had like these huge gauged ears. And it makes you wonder though, like, how much of this stuff tied together at one point, or was maybe the same thing at one point that it somehow just diverse and divided because of just possible moral compasses changing and times changing and things, being accepted and not accepted.
I think different cultures developed their own belief system based on what their ancestors went through.
Okay. But it's just weird that, outside of like something like atheism or even agnosticism, there seems to be always a belief of some sort of evil entity and good entity. There's always like a different, like demons and angels, and in the Irish, like fairies are bad and leprechauns are evil little bastards, and
that's like if somebody's completely agnostic and doesn't believe in the paranormal, and comes across a good person and a bad person.
Well, that would be agnostic, I believe, means you believe in the possibility of a higher power, where atheism is more along the lines that there is no higher power or anything like that.
Agnostic is like in between. Atheist is straight up like doesn't believe.
Well, I know atheists that believe in ghosts. That makes sense. I do know atheists that believe in ghosts. Because it's not... Because the thought of atheism is basically the belief that there is no God or existential creature that watches over us or created us. So, in that aspect, that's as far as I'll delve into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know atheists that believe in aliens, and I do know atheists that believe in like Bigfoot and ghosts and goblins and, other ooky spooky things.
It's funny getting on the topic of that, because I used to be atheist way back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, and my belief system's kind of like really shifted.
Shifted to. I don't want to dive into that too much, I guess, but what are you like more agnostic now? The belief that there is a possible.
I'm more on the side of. Can we be honest here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's an open platform.
Well, okay.
let me just warn you, and you should put this at the beginning, that all our beliefs don't tie into each other or represent the others. So
Yeah.
that way, we're not here to offend. We're not telling people they're wrong for their beliefs.
No.
We're just showing that this has tied into it to where we kind of have to talk about it. So
Since we got on this topic, I think that there's a higher power. I think that there's a God, but at the same time, I also think that who or whatever this thing is, I don't think he cares.
So you think he's a benevolent
I don't
or
think he
malevolent
cares.
would be
Not even malevolent. Not even malevolent. I just think he doesn't care.
with benevolence?
It doesn't care.
Okay. Well, then it's just so you think it's a narcissistic
Yeah,
being.
absolutely.
He's a nihilist.
Absolutely.
It's a nihilist, Donnie.
Because in all honesty, they say, me personally, I target not target. It's wrong, bad word. Like when it comes to the Christian belief and how they label Satan as such a bad guy.
Yeah.
Satan was cast out of heaven because he didn't. To me, he was cast out because he basically went up to God and said, like, I don't want it. Shouldn't be like this.
Well, from things that certain beliefs, a lot of people kind of see it. Like if you look at the different Bibles, the Old Testament, and the New Testament, a lot of people died in the Old Testament, and God has killed a lot of people. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying within that book or within those books, there's been a lot of death on God's side from whole like mass cultures and things just wiped out, like the flood and everything. He told Noah, build the ark, the flood's coming, and that he wiped out entire civilizations. No reason why. I mean, I don't know why he did it, and nobody seems to know why he did it if he exists. But when you get down to it, if you look at Satan's death count, it's like 12. Like Lucifer's only killed like 12 people. Most of the time, he didn't kill any. It wasn't like first-hand accounts of him.
No, but they all deserved it in a way.
Yeah, he basically he would test them, and if they failed, he'd have them taken out. And so a lot of people believe that he was cast out for. There's a theory going around that he was cast out for wanting equality between humans and angels, which I guess humans had taken lovers with angels. Yeah. And that created the Nephilim, which is kind of a hybrid species. And God's like, that's an abomination. We can't have that. And so Satan and the rest of the ones that rebelled no, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. Okay, so Lucifer and the other angels that rebelled were cast out because they wanted equality. And it has been shown in the actual Christian text that the way they show it is that he wanted the humans to be treated like dogs because the angels were being treated less than humans, so he didn't agree with God's power on it. Which in other situations, people believe that he wanted equality. You see what I'm saying? So he was cast out. Yeah. And so that was the whole reason for giving humans free will, was that when he was cast out, when they destroyed everything and had to rebuild, that there is another option, and you can have free will. So he did give it. Satan, Lucifer, supposedly gave humans free will. That was the whole apple thing. He gave them the choice. It's like, you have to make that choice. I can't force the apple upon you. You have to take it. And there's other beliefs that have similar stories too, which is crazy.
And then when it comes to something like that, it's almost like it's either God's way or no way at all.
Yeah, it's weird how, once again, and I'm not saying God's bad. I'm not saying Satan's good.
No, we're not bashing anybody's.
Yeah, it's just when you come up to research and you find kind of this stuff, we like to give both sides. We're very unbiased about the situation. I will say something that doesn't reflect my beliefs because it's something I came across. That's strictly what this is. It's coming from different points, and like I said, there's other people that believe Satan was just an appointed figure of God to watch over the underworld for the sinners, which also would make perfect sense, and we'll tie in with Pluto and Hades, because Hades and Pluto weren't necessarily evil.
Even the Satanic Bible mentions that Satan isn't really a person; it's more of like an ideology more than anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the funny thing, because everybody doesn't seem to. There's a difference between devil worshiper and Satanist. Yeah. Satanist is more of it's kind of like a mock reverse religion. We don't need a higher power to scare us into believing things. And if you look at like the Satanic Bible, a lot of this stuff's more like a guideline. Like I'm talking about the real one, not like the evil.
Like Anton LaVey.
Well, even then, his philosophy at the beginning was basically being a good human being without the need of a higher power.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to believe in heaven or hell. I mean, even though this is the crazy thing, I don't know if it's an actual thing that he did say, but there was reports flying around that even the newest pope has stated that there is really no hell. That it's more of a conscience, like it's more of a conscious belief to punish yourself for what you did.
The perfect quote to that is, "Hell isn't a place you go. Hell isn't a place you go. It's something you carry."
Yeah. So I mean, and that's cool. I like the new pope. The new pope's kind of cool. Well, he's not new anymore, but new. He's better than the Nazi.
Yeah.
And once again, not my opinion. He was a Nazi sympathizer. But then again, a lot of religions have been on certain bad things and sides without knowing or really caring.
Mm-hmm. I mean, oh no, it's way getting off topic.
Well, we're not really getting off topic because we're still talking about the belief of like the Oni. They're the wardens of the underworld for Japanese culture, certain Japanese cultures, and even Chinese cultures too.
Yep, Chinese and Japanese.
So, I mean, yeah. So once again, the beliefs of different things, and oddly enough, where does it all come from? It's kind of weird how this has become a philosophical thing because there's got to be some sort of point in history that someone saw something and was like, you know what?
I'm gonna question that.
I'm gonna write about it, and then maybe people will believe me later on.
Maybe that goes back to our questioning nature as human beings. We like to question things.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where the whole topic paranormal comes from. If it's not within the realms of being explainable with normal, either physics or scientific study, and it's just bizarre, it's not provable right or wrong with any sort of normal means of normal research or experimentation, then it's paranormal.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, this is an obvious example, but it's like, that's a mouse. Why is that a mouse?
Okay, because genetically, physically, all its attributes match and meet those criteria. Now, if they somewhat alter and differ, we still scientifically can prove that, this is the reason this mouse looks more like a rat, because it's genetically changed, maybe through evolution or through crossbreeding, that this rat has become a hybrid of a mouse.
Now I'm talking about a computer mouse.
You're talking about a computer mouse.
I said, mouse.
Well, once again, its main function is provable by scientific means. You click on it, it's hooked up to your computer, you can move it around, it does what a mouse is supposed to do. It's designed to do that, therefore it is in that parameter of what that is. That is a mouse. Now, if I was sitting here using this microphone that we're talking to, once again, it has its parameter and reasoning for what it is, and a way to scientifically show that that's what it's doing. It's recording us right now. We can prove that through science. Mm. Now, if you look at it in a way, if I sit here and I'm starting to move it around and click on it, and nothing's happening on my computer, and I'm like, why is this mouse not working? Either I'm dumb, or somebody's just not telling me something's going wrong here, because that clearly is no longer a mouse.
Now, when it comes to people that believe in the Earth being flat, or dinosaurs being on the Ark, why is it that their ideas are so warped?
Well, here's an interesting take for me.
They're able to stretch it.
Here's an interesting take on that kind of stuff for me, and it does tie into different beliefs and different cultures. First of all, I think as a species, I think humans are way older than we believe. I think we've died out, come back, and that's shown in different Bible. Even different Bibles show that there's been civilizations that have been wiped out and then reborn.
Oh yeah.
So I think we are way, 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 way older than we believe. I believe we could have been possibly around before the dinosaurs. Then we died out. The dinosaurs came back, or came in, and then they died out, and then we're back. And then, because everything goes in waves of structure. There's always a structure to something. There's always a way to scientifically prove. We haven't historically got there with artifacts and things like that. But you look at these out-of-place artifacts from different cultures, such as the Enchitherian machine, or the Enchitherian mechanism.
Enchitherian mechanism.
That's way beyond what historically shows us to be capable of at that time period. Mm-hmm. Just like certain weapons we're finding, and like the Baghdad batteries, which are batteries that are in like Baghdad and Egypt, they're finding similar things. We wouldn't have been able to do that. What were they powering? It's clearly a battery. It's got the same makeup and design of a battery. So we can scientifically look at it and be like, either they had a different function for it, we can't figure it out, or we found batteries that like predate any sort of like electricity or or battery. And I think realistically we're just way older than we think. And I think that's where we come into that whole there's that lost missing link.
Mm-hmm.
We at one point were as one species and got along and scientifically just so advanced that what we're doing now is going back to that. We became so advanced that we became complacent in technology. And then we started losing humanity. We started falling into a depth of things where certain situations should not be here and come back. Like racism should not be a thing, but it is. And there's reasons for that. But it's because we're relying too much on other things. And we're basically becoming inhuman. We're dehumanizing ourselves from the world with the use of stuff like this. And if it's used properly, it's a great tool. If it's used incorrectly, it's going to end up killing us all. And look at what we're doing with AI. How do we know we haven't done this before?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know that, like, we have not done this before? To where we created an AI, and then AI looked at us and said, stupid humans.
Yeah, but there were also AI that actually drowned themselves.
Well, think about this. What if God, or any sort of religion, was just an AI? What if it was an alien being that taught us how to grow?
Oh, I believe it.
What if, and this is going to blow your mind, I think, because you'll really get a kick out of this, it has been proven that the Ark is not a possible thing, correct? You can't put 2 of every animal on the Ark. There's just no way.
But they found it.
They didn't find the Ark.
Yeah, it's...
No, they didn't, dude. That is a hoax. If you can prove to me that they found the Ark, that's fine. But they didn't find the Ark, and I'll tell you why.
A genuine Ark that all the animals
that it's
came
actually
on.
as an archaeologist, an actual licensed archaeologist and historian came out like, yep, no, that's the Ark. There's proof that Noah was there when he was 700 years old or whatever he lived to be. And then because come on, how old was Noah? Was like ancient.
Yeah.
So either there's some sort of technology keeping him alive. But here's my theory. You want to know how you do the Ark and you do it properly? It wasn't just a wooden ship with 2 of each animal on there. I mean, it was in a way. It was a ship with 2 of each animal, but it wasn't. Because you know what it was? The technology was so advanced at that time that it was probably like some sort of DNA in a tube. Or like coding on it, like a computer program that told you, this is these animals. I mean, we're cloning animals now, right?
Yeah.
We've
been cloning animals for years.
I know, but now we're talking about bringing mammoths back from like DNA.
Yeah, no.
But if that's possible, that's just showing that I think we've been here before.
I think it's
that's my belief. And I'm not saying that God doesn't exist.
I'm pretty sure if we wanted to, we could take chicken DNA and
they've already thought about that.
Yeah.
Doing the dinosaurs through chicken DNA.
Yeah, not just chicken DNA. You ever seen like emus?
Yeah.
And what was that other bird?
An ostrich.
No, not an ostrich.
The one with the not a capybara.
No.
God. I know what you're talking about. It's the one with the giant bony fin that are like really vicious birds.
That have the 3 thin claws, the 3 toes.
Yeah,
they look like velociraptor toes.
They say that's like probably the closest evolved form of what the dinosaur would have been. Dinosaurs were gonna look more like birds, just like a velociraptor. They got it wrong in the movies. A velociraptor is actually like a really tiny.
Yeah, but those
dinosaur.
animals. The thing is, though, those animals went extinct for a reason. Why would you want to clone those?
Because we've been here before.
It doesn't matter if we've been here before.
We're trying to, as humans, figure out why we're here, what we're doing, and what happened. And this is how we're doing it.
I get that, but let's not create. Let's not. Because
let's not give whatever thing might be out there to give them a reason to like annihilate us again.
Yeah, exactly.
So like we create an AI, and that AI's like, you just brought back a dinosaur and it just slaughtered 30 people.
Not even an AI. Let's not even get in the realm of dinosaur.
Well, I mean, think about it though. Like I think AI is technically paranormal, and I think it can become evil, and I think it can become good. You know, I think once again with like demons and angels, I think there's 2 sides to every coin.
I also think that a millennia of inbreeding has made us stupid.
Well, I think there is way more than that going on. It's more than a millennia.
Oh, right.
More
than a millennia.
Yeah, it's a
lot of inbreeding has made us
as Christians
stupid.
still looking for this lost ark.
They claim that it was found in Turkey on Mount.
Yeah, I know, but they have no. It's too small to fit. But if you look at it, I know what you're talking about. And if you can find the picture, it's way too small to put 2 of every animal on the ark. I'm sorry. So the only way I can think of that possible is a collection of DNA stored in a machine from somebody scientifically smart and capable of realizing, like, crap, everything's going south. Global warming's going to cause a flood. I gotta get this DNA out of here.
Guys, the Earth is flat.
The Earth is not flat. If you actually believe that, then I have to fire you. Are you really a flat earther?
No.
Now, I still wonder, like, where that came about.
Matt, I have a brain.
Well, I'm not, okay, once again, not discrediting anybody's belief. Everybody that tells me to watch documentaries on that, and I have, they're like, it'll change your mind. It hasn't changed my mind. There's more proof that the world is round than there is it's flat. And I don't, that one I can't, if you believe in a flat earth, that's fine, prove me wrong. I mean, I have proof to prove you wrong. That's kind of where I take on it. There's scientific proof of the world's parameter and structure that we have scientifically proven that the world
Let's face it. Let's face it here. If the Earth was really flat, cats would have pushed everything.
Salem would have just had a field day. Oh, Christian couldn't find his proof here, so did you find it? Oh, by the way, I'm gonna give a shout out. I don't know the actual websites off the top of my head. But we have a Patreon now, and we have merch. And I do have to say, we're all wearing our shirts right now.
We are.
We're going to have to get a selfie of us wearing our shirts. So you can put it on this video to show it. They look amazing. They look really good. It's shocking. I have someone, not going to lie, I've low-key wore my shirt the last 3 days in a row. Don't care. Don't care. It's if I could wear one every day, I probably would. We're going to have new styles and stuff come out.
I've been promoting our podcast.
Good. I think anybody that, even if you listen, please promote our podcast. Like, we do this for you. We're like the PBS of paranormal. We're the paranormal broadcasting system. We're only possible with viewers like you.
Yep.
So, yeah, we have a Patreon, and we have, and I'm sure Christian will put that in the links. We have a Patreon and a merch.
Patreon merch.
And we're going to be coming out with business cards, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming. But thankfully, Christian couldn't find pictures of this ark.
No, I can't. My phone's about to die.
Yeah, there you go.
You know they built a replica in Kentucky.
Yeah, does it fit 2 of every animal? Have they tried that yet?
Yes.
They've scientifically grabbed every animal in the world and brought a male and female onto that boat.
At least most of them, from what they have on there. At least most of them,
yeah. So you're going to tell me that a bunch of other animals just appeared out of nowhere, or I'm going to disprove their beliefs by saying evolution is actually real.
Then where did the Great Flood happen?
Well, actually, there is supposedly markings on the Great Pyramids, because the Great Pyramids are older than the other pyramids and older than what they believe. The same thing with the Sphinx. There's like water level. Yeah. So there was apparently some sort of massive flood at one point. Once again, look at the desert of Egypt. Egypt used to be green and flowing with life. Now it's a desert. Global warming's already happened. We've already done this. We've already been here. We're going right back to it. What do they say about history?
It repeats itself.
If you don't know it, it repeats itself.
Yep.
Well, we don't know our history.
It's really funny.
So we're just going to repeat it. So
history is also written by the winners. Well, in that case, is the Great Flood a winner?
Yeah, because a piece of water with a pen was like, on this day in 2001 BBC, not the British Broadcasting Channel, I did a bad thing. I flooded the world. But I'm a winner. I'm a winner.
I didn't know liquid had the ability to write.
You don't know. You don't know the history of water.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe it's just
water isn't wet.
Maybe it's just had a million-year
water is not wet.
Several million-year writer's block. Maybe that's the only reason water hasn't written anything. No.
Water is not wet.
Well, if you're okay, and jokingly, because we'll get back on track here. If you're in water, are you dry or are you wet? Because you're not wet until you get out of water. So are you dry in water?
If you're in water, are you wet or are you dry? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because you technically aren't wet until you get out of the water. See what I'm saying?
I mean,
doesn't really make sense. Ooh, it was just a joke I saw online. That was an interesting little philosophical. Like I said, this is going to be more of a lighthearted episode. Not because we did anything wrong, just because our topic, although it became more interesting than I thought it was, because once again, we're somehow tying things together with plausible explanations, which is really strange. Does anybody else have anything else? So, once again, anything that you want to add to, like, Oni, or, I mean, because we really did cover what we could on Oni. There's not, there's more,
well,
what?
Yes.
Awesome. Apparently Patrick was possessed by a tickling Oni named Pickle.
Yeah, he's becoming broken.
Right. Alright, cool. Anyway, so, Christian, do you have anything to add to Oni? Were there any other legends or myths that you'd want to cover future of Japan? Because, I mean, Japan's got a very illustrious history that spans, like, thousands of years.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the
there's
oldest cultures.
A lot of different things, a lot of different yokai that I would like to discuss. Even though technically that's Onis, but
now, do you believe in the possibility of kaiju?
It could be.
I mean, you do. I mean, Godzilla was created by nuclear.
After all, there is giant squids out there.
There are.
So...
and that two covers goes under paranormal because that's what they believe. Like now, they believe that the krakens that you'd hear about in like pirate times and stuff like that, or in any even in Viking times, they have creatures that would swallow ships whole.
We haven't even been to the deepest part of the ocean yet.
No, that would be the Mariana Trench, right? We've been partially into it, but not
partially. There's even more than that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, we're finding sharks that like the Greenland shark.
Oh yeah,
Greenland's known about him forever, and we just found out about him in like the 90s or the 2000s. Like, what is this shark? We don't know. This is crazy. It just appeared out of nowhere. Some sort of new species. Greenland's like, it's the Greenland shark, you idiots.
We know maybe like 2% of the world's oceans.
We don't communicate with each other enough on things, is what it is.
Not too.
I mean, but I do believe. I mean, they've caught like I don't know if you've ever seen the video of that really giant the colossal squid that they caught on camera was just like
huge.
Yeah, like scarily like.
Oh, bigger than the one they found dead.
In all honesty, would you want that?
It's alive. You see its tentacle come up and it like grabs something and then pulls it away.
Would you want that as a pet though? What would you name it?
Cthulhu. Fatagan.
First thing that comes to my mind is, oh, you guys made me ink. That's an octopus.
Thanks for that insight there. And as Christian's like, I got to do a lot of editing now. It was going well. Now there's a lot. There's not really. I don't think it's been a bad show. I don't think there's been a lot of dead air or like bad jokes or inappropriate behavior from Patrick.
Not a lot.
Like that. The rebel. Anyway, so the next topic, which also could tie into what we were just talking about.
Yes, especially the giant squid.
The giant squid is ghost ships. Ghost ships is the second one.
The Kraken.
Yeah. Could have been. I went on this journey hoping to do ghost ships, which is like kind of I wanted to do ghost ships because it started with us not jokingly, I don't want to say jokingly because it's a tragedy, but like mentioning kind of humorously if there's ever been like a haunting of the Titanic, in the Atlantic. Like if anybody's ever come, I haven't been able to find any situation where people have seen the Titanic go. I mean, I might be wrong, but
it would be really cool if we would be the first group to investigate something like that.
So we're just gonna go float around the Atlantic Ocean and like.
Yeah, let's get a rowboat.
Yeah, we could do it if we knew the exact location of the Titanic, which they do. We could float above the water for a little bit, see what happens. But I ain't getting in a rowboat. I'd have to be on a vessel.
Yeah, no,
large
you
vessel.
wouldn't get in a rowboat. You crazy?
But I mean, so what did you come up with ghost ships other than most of the ones I came across were just abandoned ships just floating around the sea, like the ones that would wash up in Japan with skeletons on it, and like the same thing was happening in Korea too, not too long ago. That's just why? Where are they coming from? What are they doing? And then, in some cases, there's no crew at all. It's just left like it, like nothing was wrong. Just like everybody just vanished in the blink of an eye.
Yep.
And then there's that one that was on fire that those people saw. But
and of course, you got the most famous one.
There was one I remember reading about, but I don't remember the crucial details. It's messed up. I don't remember the crucial details of it. But what had happened was there was a cargo ship that had a crew of 12 people.
Because it was a family. It was a family and 7 crewmen. We were just watching that because they had industrial alcohol on the ship, and when they found the ship, one of the windows was open, and they believed that they evacuated the ship.
Yeah, it was the Mary Celeste.
Wait, but did that ship?
The Mary Celeste?
Yes, Mary Celeste.
Oh no, wrong ship.
Huh?
No, wrong one.
Okay.
The one that I'm bringing up, I don't remember the name of it. I need to do more research on it. But basically, what had happened was the ship ran aground, and it had the cargo contained like salt or something of that nature, And basically what had happened, the ship sunk, and they had to get in the lifeboat.
And the salt made it rise back out of the water.
Yeah, the buoyancy and the salt caused it to
I'm not
rise
sure
up.
what that one's called. I know what you're talking about, too. That was a weird story. That was... Once again, that kind of leads to the belief, is that maybe what's... How long ago was that?
I have to look at it.
Because that makes me wonder if, like, that maybe what started the legend of the Flying Dutchman.
Maybe.
If it was, like, in the 1700s that this occurred, because of the spice trades and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, the thing with the Flying Dutchman, though, is that it has a crew, though, supposedly.
Well, yeah, but it's a ghostly crew, so you're not always going to see it. That's what I'm saying.
It's
And,
not
like, wouldn't it be
priceless.
weird if, like, you're out on the ocean and did come across, like, somehow the real Flying Dutchman's still, like, floating? It's, like, not really a haunted ship or anything, but, like, it's just floating there.
I mean,
like,
could you imagine coming across Davy Jones?
like the dead body of Davy Jones? Or,
No,
like, even, like, the
Davy
ghost?
Jones, like with the octopus face from Pirates
I
of
don't
the Caribbean.
think that's... I think that's just kind of... I think that's artistic licensing.
Yes.
I don't think that's really what he looks like. I don't remember ever hearing him having tentacles
Maybe
on
because
a face.
Maybe it's because of that beard, though, that he had probably.
Well, I'm sure he had a beard. Most pirates did.
Yeah, look at Blackbeard.
Which
Even
female
though,
pirates too.
ironically enough, it wasn't like a full-fledged.
They did. What do you mean
Female pirates too.
They had.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, I thought you meant the female pirates had beards.
No,
I was
no.
like,
Yeah,
jeez,
maybe.
man, what?
No, there were female
It's the
pirates.
pirate life.
And some female pirates dressed up as guys.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name?
Oh no.
Something Red. Bonnie.
Red Baron?
No. Red Bonnie.
Red Bonnet?
There was two female pirates that were like supposedly lesbian lovers or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, not making that up. I'm not. But yeah, so, but they would dress like men to disguise themselves. I can't remember her name. But yeah, so you have and the ocean's so massive and large. Like there's still ships floating out there. There could be abandoned cruise ships just floating around that nobody knows about.
I mean, it could be, too, that due to the giant squids, I mean, maybe they got them. Got the crew, possibly.
Yeah, but I mean, that would take a lot of, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, squids and octopus are, like, the smartest creatures, one of the smartest creatures we know of, and they can do weird things. But that would require, like, a giant squid being like, I'm going to go through this hallway with my tentacle and grab that dude from his room. I'm going to grab that guy over there. Like, I don't see that
That's
happen.
true. I mean, the fact that a lot of these, like, everything's still set up how they were when they were there.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
the
would explain
food
some of
and
those where there's, like, there was water in some of the rooms, but nobody could figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they get, like, attacked by some rogue squid that just ran through the ship, or octopus that just ran through the ship looking for food. I mean, there's so many possibilities there. People believe that they're alien abductions.
Yep.
There's people that believe obviously Davy Jones is a thing. So they
Or look
believe
at the crew. There was a crew that was killed by unforeseen circumstances, and they all were like petrified in a way.
I remember hearing about that one too,
Yeah.
where like everybody on board was just like frozen in
In a
fear.
perpetual state of
So
shock.
I mean, but that could have been pirates. I mean,
No, that's not pirate related.
what do you mean that's not pirate?
I don't
related?
think it's pirate related.
If you're depending on the era of the ship, if you're some sort of like, you know, just traveler coming over here and pirates jumped your ship and started beating you and like messing
Yeah.
people up and stealing from you and killing people, you don't think that you'd be in a state of shock and horrification?
You would, but the way that they were, it was different. Like, for example, you had people that were literally like laying. I hate doing this. I'll do
Well,
the
nobody can
for
see you
example.
do it, so why don't
I know. Want to take a picture?
No, nobody wants to see you laying down.
Yeah, no.
My phone's
No,
dead.
no, but what I'm saying is they would be in a position where. How do I explain it? It's like a perpetual state of shock.
So like they were literally petrified.
Yeah, basically.
They were
Like,
petrified in fear. Still,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, man, I mean, maybe it was Davy Jones. Maybe his ship came out.
They had internal injuries. Oh wait, I'm thinking of another situation. But they had internal injury. Yeah, it was a different situation. It was in the snow, and they all had internal injuries. One person had their tongue removed.
That was a mountain climbing expedition.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Nobody could. Yeah, nobody. It was a family. I think,
Yeah.
And nobody could figure out who did that, who took the tongue. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, it's possibly a bear." Like, I don't think a bear's
Yeah,
gonna
no.
beat somebody with internal wounds and then take the.
Yeah, no.
I mean, think about that though. Like, I couldn't do it, but even if you look at other things that with dealing with the ghost ship, what about Mount Everest? Do you think Mount Everest is haunted? You have a guy.
Somewhat, yeah.
You have a guy there he's known as Green Boots.
Green Boots, yeah.
And people use him, his dead frozen body, they use him as like a guide marker of where they are.
Yep.
Weird thing is the body has moved several times to different locations on the mountain. Mm-hmm. And I don't just mean like, oh, he slid over that way. I mean like, oh, Green Boots. He's on the other side of the mountain now. Why is he on the other? How is he on the other side of the mountain? Like,
well, you also got to understand too that when the law of Everest is
they don't bring things back. Once you're there, you're there.
When a body falls, you leave it there.
Yeah, they there's no rescue expedition or anything. Like you go down, you go down.
If you find a resting place, there's over at least 300, maybe 600.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, like I don't know what the exact numbers are, but
I believe it. I think it's over that many.
There's been a lot of people that have died trying to climb that mountain.
Yep.
Also, a lot of people seeing Yetis.
On Mount Everest?
Hmm?
I haven't heard about that. I know that there's a belief that there's a form of I don't know if it's there, but in the Himalayas, there's a form of Bigfoot there that they call Yeti, but it's like they think it's just a rare form of white gorilla that started living in the mountains.
There was a guy who tried to do a double traverse over Mount Everest. He did a first traverse and he tried to do a double, going over the same way it came in, like going through uncharted territory of Mount Everest, like going up the north face, going to the peak of Everest, and scaling down the south side into the Himalayas.
It's just like all the other ships and boats that get lost on the Amazonian River and stuff in the jungles. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you find the ships, but you don't find the people. We don't know what happened. It was the same thing with the ghost ships.
Look at was it Jamestown? Not Jamestown.
Oh, Roanoke?
Yeah, Roanoke.
That would be a similar situation.
Prime example.
And there's a lot of those in history where people just like vanish, and there's no sign or trace of them or what happened or where they went. And I don't mean like, when people get kidnapped or murdered and dumped somewhere. I mean like these are whole colonies and these are whole shiploads of people, and these are groups of people going out and exploring things that not one of them survives to tell the story of what happened. So what happened, and we'll never find out unless we find some sort of direct link to them. Like we kind of figured out partially with the Roanoke thing. We kind of have that they believe that they ended up going with some Native Americans and either becoming slaves to that certain tribe of Native American, like forced into slavery, or they went willingly with them because they had no choice.
In all honesty, I think the Native Americans killed them.
Well, there's proof that they went with them because they found artifacts along the trail that the Native Americans used that tied those people to Roanoke. And at the time, we weren't like really in a bad place so badly with the Native Americans at that point. Like we were still kind of okay. Like we were learning stuff from them, they were learning stuff from us, but we hadn't become that tyrannical force that we know us as of now. That we really wiped out civilizations and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, a whole colony goes missing, and that's not the only one. I mean, think about that Oak Island thing. Like nobody knows what that is or who put that there. Like we have no proof of what it is. Mm-hmm. People believe it's like the treasure of Alex Kidd or something like that, but there's no historical proof of that. So there's just this weird booby-trapped hole with something at the bottom of it. But who put it there? Maybe it was a colony that just disappeared. Well, I'm like, why? We don't know. We'll never find anything on it unless we find actual proof. Just like how, for years we believed that the Nazis, it was like theory that the Nazis were hiding out in South America and Brazil and stuff like that. And then like, oh, that's just conspiracy theory. And then they actually found evidence. See, in that situation, we found them. You know what I mean? But there's certain situations we'll never know the truth to.
And even still to this day, they go to try to look for the Nazi. Oh,
they're trying more now to prove that Hitler had been down there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's a cool documentary series on that. Actually, that I watched. I think it's called Hunting Hitler or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really good. They deal with a lot of facts. They don't just like bull crap their way through stuff. Well, we came here thinking this is going to happen. We found something totally different. So
when Stalin actually heard about Hitler's assassination, he actually sent out a group of secret.
Well, Hitler wasn't assassinated.
Yeah, no.
He supposedly killed himself.
Yeah,
but
Stalin sent in a whole CIA, KGB, a whole bunch of Secret Service people in to actually make sure that he was dead.
But the only thing they found was supposedly a woman's pelvis.
Yeah.
or a woman's skull, and then teeth fragments that, oh, they were Hitler's. They scientifically proved that they were Hitler's. But if I'm faking my death, I might as well take out them gold teeth that people know I have, and then just leave them as a, oh, that's my skull. It's not. But
And what's really messed up is that his ideologies still stand even today. Not stand, but
yeah, but even worse is they're now they're getting more believed and practiced now, which is really ridiculous. We do not believe with anything the Nazis have done. I can never sympathize with the Nazi or anybody. If you question yourself, if I'm like, man, I can't hate Nazis, and somebody's like, well, define a Nazi, I'd be like, okay, yeah, see you later. If you have to ask yourself that question, or ask somebody to define what a Nazi is, peace. We're done. Not doing it. That stuff needs to stop.
And there were even Americans.
Yeah.
Americans that supported friggin' Nazis.
Well, we weren't in World War II from the beginning anyway. We got into World War II because Japan blew up some of her. They blew up our harbor. But do you know why they did that?
Yeah,
in retaliation, because we messed up their oil. Out of nowhere, we attacked their oil
Refinery?
No, their ships.
Oh,
their transports.
Well, that, and we were also.
So that was an act of war, but this isn't paranormal. I mean, there's a lot of stuff paranormal with World War II.
We a little bit. Yeah, oh yeah.
Such as like the. I wonder about the beaches of Normandy too. Do you think that's haunted? Do you think like?
Yes, absolutely.
Think so?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's even
similar to Gettysburg.
Much like Gettysburg.
Well, there's even stories of World War II ships and stuff being like ghost shipped and stuff like that.
I believe it.
Like the one you were mentioning.
A lot of ghost ships.
The Blue Ghost.
The Blue Ghost. The
Yeah.
USS Lexington. Actually, somebody died on that boat. There was an explosion in the keyhole.
Huh.
And one person died.
Well, then there's that other story about the one that went down where everybody got eaten by sharks. Except for a few people that were hallucinating and seeing ghosts and stuff because they had drank nothing but salt water and it caused them to hallucinate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Apparently, if you drink too much salt water, you hallucinate.
You do.
So when you see people coming at you trying to eat you in the ocean and it turns out to be sharks, that's crazy.
Well, think about it. It dehydrates you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this did happen. This like school of sharks was just picking off these soldiers that were like floating around. Only a few of them survived.
Which begs the other question is, why do we hallucinate? Even if we're not on drugs, why do we sometimes hallucinate?
I believe it's a disconnect within your brain somewhere, psychologically. Like the wiring.
Chemical reactions.
That too. I think it can be caused by a bunch of different things.
Of the 5 major organs in our bodies, we know everything about 4 of them.
Well,
we don't know anything about the brain.
Yeah, but we don't know how certain substances necessarily cause you to hallucinate either. I mean, when does that happen? Is it like something to do with the enzymes within your liver? Is it something to do within your stomach? Your bloodstream?
Well, no. I mean, I'm just saying it just goes to show how complex our brains are.
But then again, when you're in a state of tragedy, what's to tell that your brain doesn't see things paranormally when the truth's right in front of you? It's not necessarily ghosts. It's you hallucinating a situation to basically overcome and
overcompensate.
Not overcompensate. I was just not adapt. Oh, there's a word for it.
Cope?
To cope with the actual reality.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Would I rather see somebody coming after me like the Grim Reaper, or would I rather know it's a shark tearing me from limb? You know, like I think it's kind of like that. Like it's that.
Wait, is the Grim Reaper in the ocean with you?
I'm just saying in general. Like, say you're having an hallucination during a death time experience.
Oh yeah.
And your brain sees it as something else. If you saw like a friendly Grim Reaper come up to you and be like, "I'm here to take you, to wherever you believe you belong," and then it turns out it's just you coping for what's happening to you, saying, I don't know, being ripped limb from limb by a shark, or it's like that they have that substance DMT. Supposedly we have it in our spinal columns. Mm-hmm. A lot of people believe that when you die or when you get close to death, that whole light at the end of the tunnel thing is actually that being triggered as a mechanism. It's like a self-defense mechanism that your brain's like, oh crap, we're gonna be there's some pain coming. It's bad. This is it. This is the end. And it triggers it's like a capsule, I guess, that we have, and it breaks open, and you have a near-death experience. And that's why people that have near-death experiences feel like sometimes have a state of like euphoric, like not immortality, but euphoric state of like
euphoria, basically.
Well, yeah, they might hallucinate, but it's their brain with a certain chemical reaction coping with what's going on with your reality. So when you see the light at the end of the tunnel, that's the DMT in your brain. And that's why, like, it's weird. There's a lot of people doing DMT from, like, plants that they do it as a recreational drug now, which is really weird. And they all see the same thing usually. It's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Some of them have seen aliens. They actually claim to see the same exact... It's like the same description of aliens. There's certain ones that do this. I know this is off topic. And once again, it goes back to beliefs and situations. So I guess it ties back in. There is a... when you're on peyote, I guess you see this creature called Mescalito. And Mescalito is this little... He's like this little imp-type creature. Kind of resembles an Oni. And he guides you through your like spiritual journey when you're on peyote. And there's several cultures that believe in this creature. It's but they have the same description. There's paintings of him. He looks the same. It's really weird. And so I mean, is it that chemical reaction causing your brain to cope with what's going on with the reality of what's happening?
I think that could be a possibility.
I mean, maybe with the ghost ships, when people are seeing ghosts and stuff like that, like, are they really seeing ghosts, or are they just coping with what's going on? Like, your ship's sinking and you see like ghosts or something. Is that a thing, or is it just your reality being warped by basically the over tragic situation at hand? It's just like the Titanic. People claim that they saw the band and heard the band playing on its way down. Did they really? I mean, was that really happening? Is there actual proof that happened, other than accounts?
Well, I don't think there's any other way to prove that than just accounts.
Yeah. There's no footage.
Yeah, no, none.
Well, there is footage of the Titanic, right? Like,
there's footage of the Titanic, but there's no footage of it actually sinking.
No, well, I know that. They've made sure of that, right? Like,
no, they found the Titanic. Yeah.
No,
I know that, but they can't physically go down and check. Like, I'm saying, is there any film out there of somebody
going down and checking?
There's none.
No,
there would be none.
I was saying, is there any film of like somebody on a lifeboat?
I don't think so.
Oh no.
Which is weird because there's not. There's footage. So where did the cameras go that were on the Titanic? Did they sink? How do we get some of the footage from it? Because there's footage of people on the Titanic.
That's when they're at the bay in the harbor.
That's when they're docked. Like even when it shows them, like, huh?
I don't think. You know what's weird? And now that I think about it, why didn't anybody on the Titanic have a camera?
That's what I'm saying. Well, cameras weren't very.
Well,
they were hard to come by back then. It wasn't like It was like I just go down to the local dime store and get one for $30.
Yeah, no. Times have definitely changed. We're not in that era anymore.
But and then it's weird because it goes down to that. Like I guess there's no, from what I could gather, there's no actual ghost tales of the Titanic still, out there partying before the time of, destruction.
Now that we're on the topic of the Titanic, I need to look through my pictures again, and I need to show you that picture that I thought I saw something in.
Well, if you can find it before we put the YouTube version of this up, we can put the picture on there and let people see what they think they see and let us know.
I know. I need to look through the pictures again, because I swear to God...
Don't say what it is, because I want to do an experiment with this.
No, I'm not saying what it is.
Okay, so you find the picture, we'll put it up with this video. Hopefully, we'll have it up with this video, and then you guys can see, maybe tell us what you see, and I'll, and then we'll do like a poll.
Because they said that the Titanic exhibit is haunted because of the artifacts.
Well, I mean, think about it. Once again, we go back to the energy situation. That was a tragic, terrible thing that happened. I mean, I could see where the energy is very potent there, and once again, some artifacts have to be still underwater and shown off. So there's energy there, if you believe in that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I believe it. I want to go to the Orlando Titanic exhibit.
That's why I think certain objects can hold very... What's the word?
Well, we know water produces energy. I mean, it's a given.
I'm not talking about water.
I know, but I'm saying, when you have these artifacts, some of them are, like I said, the only way to show them off is like submerged slightly underwater. Mm-hmm. Well, why? What do you think's doing? It's like a microwave transmitter of like pure energy around an artifact that's got its own energy from something that happened that's so terribly tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as ghost ships, though, that one was kind of the most disappointing one of this week for me because I was kind of hoping to come more across like actual more ghost stories than just a ship that came washing up that was empty.
Yeah, it's like a half and half situation.
Yeah. Ships. So, I mean, there were a few, but somehow it's weird how many empty ships show up, which is kind of more strange now that you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't really a lot of like, oh, there's ghost ships that's floating around. There's like, I saw this whole ghost situation here. There's these guys over there. Look, they're pirates. I can clearly tell that they're pirates. I mean, that would be terrifying though. If you're out on the water, and like, I don't mean like the Somalian pirates. I mean like, you come across pirates from the 1700s that are like, they look real, they sound real, it seems real, they're not real. That would be terrifying to me. Unless it was Johnny, or if it was Jack Sparrow, I'd be like, yeah, I'd join you guys. I mean, what did you find anything interesting on those ships? I mean, you have like your notes.
I mean, other than what we've already discussed, not really too much. Just the fact that you have both different styles.
I was more interested in the Book of the Dead than anything.
Yeah, I mean, there was and it did that opened up to like, once again, I kind of went in thinking this was going to be kind of a bad episode, and I don't want to release a bad episode to anybody. I want you guys to know that we were like borderline ready to pull the plug on this episode, just because we felt like the topics didn't live up to what we had hoped when we started researching them, and then somehow through talking about stuff and different cultures and things, it gives it a bigger, more broad perspective on the possibility of these existence, or the existence of these objects. I mean, we know that there's all sorts of different all sorts of different like ancient artifacts that, I gave you that book that we will be going over eventually with the occult and the Third Reich, where there was a super elite special ops agent or unit sent out by Hitler to find objects of,
the supernatural.
With supernatural abilities, like the Spear Longinus and stuff like that.
UFOs.
Yeah, because he believed that the Spear Longinus could actually give him the power of immortality.
Oh.
Actually, that's what Hellboy, the first movie, is based on. Mm-hmm. And that's apparently a real thing that he did.
Yep.
Hellboy's not real. I wish. That'd be cool. But, so, what I thought was going to be a bum episode like that, it's that, that one that we lulled a little. I don't mean like lulled like LOL. I mean like lulled like it was a little bit. I thought it was gonna be more dull, and kind of boring, and not really full of anything exciting. I think it became a pretty interesting, good episode.
Yeah, especially when we were discussing about the books.
Yeah, I mean, once again, where did it all come from? Where did it all start?
And the fact that one of those books the Codex one, has the same.
That looks like an Ernie. Yeah. So yeah, go look that up. He'll post the picture in the video, but I mean, once again, if you listen to us before the video, you won't see that. You won't see certain things. But I try to get everybody to like kind of listen to us. Well, technically listen to us once, watch us once. Technically listen to us twice, because when we talk about stuff, when it's just the audio, you don't get like a full visual image. What Christian does production wise and sort of like directional wise, is he'll go and find pictures and videos and he'll add it to the video for YouTube. It usually comes about a week after our initial release for the episodes. You can still listen to us audio only on so many different sites. We have so many now. Through Anchor FM, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can find us on like SoundCloud, iTunes,
Spotify, Google Play.
Google Play. Oh, we're on Google Play too?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. We're on a lot of different stuff, so you can always find us. But I have a lot of people that do like to wait for the video. One of my customers at work, she enjoys watching the video ones, so I always have to let her know. For some reason, she doesn't. I checked her thing. For some reason, she's not getting the notifications, which kind of bothers me, because it's not the first time I've heard about somebody not getting the notification for. Yeah, I know. I checked that; it was on, but for some reason, it's not always notifying. It doesn't notify me. So I don't know if there's something there that we need to fix or what. But
it happens with everybody.
Yeah. So there are people that do like to listen and wait for the video version, and I think they're great. I mean, I sit and watch and make sure everything's fine. It gives it a different point of view, I think. And if you listen to us, you can kind of absorb the information. But if you listen to us and then watch the video version, I think it gives you like a different perspective on things. Because when you see like these mini documentaries from like the History Channel and public knowledgeable sources, basically, and so it's a great way to listen to us. But it comes out about a week, sometimes a week and a half after the audio release. I don't know if we didn't really do a news story this week. We forgot about that. Was there anything that happened? I know there was some new footage of somebody that had like a UFO, that saw a UFO. I think it was like, I can't remember, Wisconsin or Michigan or something like that. They got video of it, but it was a really shaky cam.
You can bring up that one website.
I don't know what website that is. Do we know anything going on with the sarcophagus sludge? Is that guy going to drink it? Is that?
I hope not.
I don't know. All I know is
in the name of science.
Like, you got to be really still. Like, you.
Yeah, but that's, once again, it's proving my point. We're
infection.
dehumanizing ourselves and becoming really, really dumb. What do you think's going to happen next? Mass extinction, because we're dumb.
I believe it. Dude, come on, man. The global warming's happening. The sea level's rising. There's gonna
Would
be
you
another
sound
flood.
familiar like it's been there before?
Huh?
Sound familiar like we've been there before?
Yeah.
Well, better start getting them animals together on your ark.
Oh, we're going backwards.
On Christian's ark there, that he found in Turkey.
Yeah, I'll make sure to bring the dinosaurs. Because, you know, the dinosaurs
You
were
didn't
in
find it
America.
in ham or salami.
Well,
You
if
found
you
it-
want to get technical, the dinosaurs were mentioned in the Bible too. So.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Were they really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I find that funny.
Yeah, before, even after the flood.
No, but they were on the ark, though.
Well, yeah, but don't forget, like, the unicorns and the cyclopses, they woke up too late.
Yeah, they did.
They were on Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, no? Oh, damn. Was that Northern Standard Time?
I don't know,
Or
they were on
Central?
something. One of the
Central
unicorns.
Pacific?
You know, the unicorns couldn't sleep. Something about picking up radio signals with their horn. They tried. They really did. I heard Bigfoot only survived because he found an inner tube being dragged behind the boat.
Do you want me to look up that?
Hold on, I'm looking something up. When you, oh, is it okay? Now I don't know if I believe this because it's from Fox News. UFO speculation surges to after North Carolina lake video goes viral. So there's video footage of a UFO, but the camera's really shaky. So I mean, this week we couldn't find any sort of shocking paranormal news other than the UFO thing, and that's not really shocking. Once again, shaky cam. I like my evidence to be a little bit more clean. I'm tired of I think it's Bigfoot. It's not Bigfoot. It's just some dude. The shaky cam thing's got to go. We have technology now, people. Use it. Don't shake around. If you see something, get a good clean shot of it. It's the only way to prove that it exists. It's the only way to prove that it doesn't. You know, you either have it or you don't. So I think with that being said, we will have 3 new topics once again. If you're listening to us, please, please, please let us know what topics you guys would like to hear us talk about. We really thrive on having input. Oh, yeah, we got a comment on a certain African tribe that we were supposed to go over, and I'm not mentioning the tribe yet because we will eventually cover that. I think I got to find more into it. I couldn't really find much on it other than a couple stories that have been debunked and disproved. So we do have a topic coming up on it, and we'll eventually touch on it at least, just to show you that we are listening. Basically, the tribe, I guess, has had knowledge of... they believe that the aliens visited this tribe, and that's where they got certain knowledge of things. Once again, I don't know if it's real or not, so we have to do more research and dive deeper into that. But we are keeping you in mind and remembering that you did put that out there. And thank you for listening. Actually, I think it was one of your friends that posted about it on the YouTube channel. Yeah. So, thank you once again. We do thrive on that kind of stuff. We enjoy hearing from you guys. Keep the comments coming. Keep the topics coming. We eventually will get to whatever you guys do want to hear about. We would like to hear more topics so we have more things to choose from. It is a little strenuous and stressful. We technically have... I myself have 3 shows now I'm working on. We're getting pretty busy. Me and Christian have 2 shows we're working on together. Patrick probably join us in some of those other ones. If you're a nerd like us, we're doing a nerd news weekly thing too, coming up, along with the original 8-bit stuff that I've been doing for years. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So we do like hearing from you guys. So let us know what you'd like us to discuss. And it could be anything. We'll look into it. If we think it's good, we'll start giving you shout outs like by name. And also, once again, we have a Patreon. We have a merch booth, or not a merch booth, but a merch site now, which is cool. Once again, we're going to put the photos up. Shirts are amazing. They come in different colors. You can pick the colors. You can get mugs. You can get bandanas for your dog. I want to do, once again, an exclusive that's Bark of the Night Paranormal. I think that would be funny. You can get coffee mugs. You can get thermoses. There's a lot of stuff on there that you can get. There's kids' clothes. Just anything you can think of, it's possibly on there. I don't know if there's any beer koozies. That would be cool. But
yeah, so the website for Patreon, it's patreon.com/bumpofthenight.paranormal.
Okay.
And then for the merch, it's shop.spreadshirt.com/bumpofthenight.paranormal.
And with that said, He'll also put those in the links. He'll put the links below
In the description.
in the descriptions. I guess with that said, this is Matthew Ferry and my co-hosts,
Christian Sakara.
Patrick Palola.
and we're signing off. Have a glorious and spooky evening.
And remember, if it bumps in the night, we bump back.
Oh, yeah.